So Tony Blair has put out a video asking you all to just basically agree to his digital ID, and this grim old technocratic goblin feels desperate. He feels like this is the last chance to properly implement the most dystopian Orwellian system of control I think it could be possible to actually have. And he seems to be just on the cusp. Look, I'm so close. I'm so close. In fact, genuinely, like Gollum from Lord of the Rings, it seems to be turning into something monstrous, something that is genuinely without a soul. We'll let him make his case, but man, I'm not persuaded by this. And actually, it's the tone in which I'm not persuaded. Tony Blair used to be an incredible speaker, right? Whether you like him or not, he used to be an incredible communicator, but now he just seems grasping, needy, desperate, and it's kind of gross.
The benefits are clear. Digital ID will make our interactions with each other and with the state faster, cheaper, and more reliable.
Okay, well, stop you right there. I don't need my interactions with my friends and neighbours and the people I contract with to be any faster. They're perfectly fast. In fact, speed at which I was able to interact with the rest of the people around me wasn't the issue. And I actually don't want my interactions with the state to be faster and more reliable. I would like them to be fewer and more distant and more remote. I actually don't want to be integrated with the British state in this way. That's the most unappealing thing I can possibly imagine. Please stop recommending it.
It will allow us to judge who has a right to be in our country and who doesn't, and so solves one of the major challenges of immigration.
As if we don't already have the ability to do that. The problem, Mr. Blair, is that we just aren't capable of deporting people because of the Byzantine legislation that you helped bring about. You helped make it so that these people are trapped in our country through the lefty lawyers and the complex of NGOs and quangos appealing to a series of rules that are being interpreted by activist judges against us. The idea that I think you would deport, not just you, but any government would actually deport substantive numbers of illegals here is ridiculous. You won't, and you know you won't. And you're just going to make us pay for the privilege. This is just about making sure that your technocracy has this final piece of the puzzle that just drops into place so the whole thing suddenly is a self-perpetuating engine of tyranny. That's what this is. Everyone can see that that's what this is. And I just don't want it. I'm not going to cooperate with it. This is not going to happen, frankly. I really don't think this is coming.
Facial recognition can now spot suspects in real time from live video, tracking organized criminals at borders, in public spaces, even helping find missing people.
This would be more persuasive if basically crime was legal. If it wasn't that crime was legal in the UK. There was an article the other day on the BBC about how apparently in London, if it's more than 2 hours after the theft of a bike, the police aren't just going to bother. I mean, they don't bother anyway. 95% of burglaries go uninvestigated. Like it's a ridiculous number. It's like hardly any rapes are investigated, hardly any burglaries are investigated, hardly any phone thefts are solved, hardly any physical assaults solved. However, if you tweet something that the government doesn't like, you're going to get a knock in the middle of the night, right? It's so preposterous that you're like, oh yeah, this is going to help solve crime. No, it's not. And you don't give a shit about crime. There's a reason that everyone's like, oh yeah, this is what we're going to call anarcho-tyranny. Because yeah, it does look like an anarcho-tyranny. The criminals aren't really being policed, are they? And even when they are, how much jail time do they get? Not as much as someone who tweets something very naughty that the government doesn't like. I mean, it's genuinely preposterous that you try and sell this on Law and Order when we know that the state and the institutions of the state, the police, the intelligence services, like they could be tracking criminals all the time. They could be bacallying all of our criminals, but they just don't. They're just not interested. They're like, wow, too many people in prison for tweets. You see, 12,000 a year are arrested for social media posts. So phone thefts. I mean, we the police, we can't be bothered to look into that. We just can't be funked. And all the ethnic communities that are doing a lot of the crime don't really feel like we have the moral authority to patrol them either. So, just saying, it's kind of, why would we bother? We just want digital ID so we can make sure you're properly under control, because at the end of the day, it's you that matters to them, right? They don't care about criminals. They've got personal guards. They've got hired guards. They don't think they're going to be the victims of crime. They are worried that they might be the victims of tax evasion. They are worried that you, the law-abiding tax-paying people, won't keep the system running. The criminals, they don't get anything from the criminals. They don't extract taxes from these fucking criminals and from a lot of these communities. They extract taxes from you. And so they want you to get the ID so they can keep better tabs on you to make sure that the actual the infrastructure of the project, which is the people, the good law-abiding people of this country, are kept on a very tight leash. The criminals, they don't give a damn about. They're just going to let them be your problem because they're not their problem.
In London, live facial recognition led to 360 arrests by the Met Police between January and October 2024, just in a pilot project.
Okay, great. So we're going to have Chinese-style facial recognition just in case the police ever actually feel like arresting someone. And again, how many crimes were there in London in this period? Tens of thousands of crimes. It's like, yeah, but we got 360 people. Yeah, what'd they do? Tweet? Did you catch them on Facebook? They like, what kind of criminals are we dealing with, Tony? And even then, let's assume that this did work. I don't want the government to have mass facial recognition surveillance of the entire country. I actually don't know whether, I don't know how to put this to you, Tony, but it's the most evil, tyrannical thing that could be done by a government is to have this kind of total dominion over the country. Like, genuinely, like, totalitarianism doesn't do it justice. Like, the term totalitarianism is too soft for what Tony Blair is proposing here. And he's just here, like he's not the most evil man who has ever lived. Worse than Adolf Hitler, by the way. And I'll stand on that in public. Worse than Adolf Hitler. Worse than Joe Stalin. Worse than Mao. Right? He is standing here trying to create an infinite tyrannical totalitarian state. And like, at least with the tyrannies of the 20th century, they were limited. Right? You could take refuge in society itself. You could have people, if you were being tyrannized and persecuted by the government, you had at least somewhere they couldn't see. Like, even Orwell didn't envisage a state this invasive. Like, the telescreens would be watching you in your house, but there'd be areas of the house where they couldn't quite see. You'd have the ability to, like, write in a diary forbidden things. You'd be able to go outside of the cities into the countryside to get away from the prying eyes of the state. But what Tony Blair is suggesting is that that's all abolished, and everywhere is under the purview of the state. Everywhere, all the time. Everywhere you go, you've got the digital ID with you, so they can just track you remotely, and everything can be watched by AI using facial recognition scanners in every city, in every town, and everywhere in the entire country. Like, and he's just standing here saying, look, can we just have the worst possible future, please? Can we just have it? Just give it to me, please, bro. I mean, look how desperate he looks. Please, just give me the one ring, and trust me, this technocratic system, all the problems will be solved. I promise you. I don't believe you, Tony. What I think will happen is 1,000 years of darkness. I think what will happen is we'll be trapped inside of a system that is self-perpetuating and basically impossible to escape. And we will be some kind of new Soviet Union that is just horrific, absolutely horrific. Like, the idea that the government should be able to track your movements everywhere is terrifying enough. But then having the ability to intercede in your in exchanges, intercede in any transactions that you have is just mad. Why would we want this? And I don't believe for a second that your crime levels are going to go down, because they go down now. It's just they choose not to. Crime hasn't always been this way. And we didn't have a dystopian, tyrannical, panopticon society before then. And yet here we are. Here we are in the shittest possible version of Britain. And you're like, can we just make it a bit more tyrannical?
It boosts response times and helps identify suspects quickly in busy places like train stations and events.
Yeah, but it's all predicated on the idea that the police, the woke police of diversity and inclusion, wants to arrest them. And what happens when they turn up? What they're going to get beaten up by the criminals as per usual. Sorry, mate. This is not reflective of what is actually happening in the country. Like, there's no reason crime should be at the level it's at, but it's because the police have got no interest in doing it. So, okay, they can know about all sorts of things. I mean, they know about all sorts of crimes. They just choose not to take action because it's just too much work. It's just too much hassle. It's too invasive for their day. And you'll notice that things are just being, like, essentially declared non-crimes at this point. Like, they're being defined out of being crimes. And like with the bike example, it's like, well, if it's after 2 hours, we're not going to bother, so it's not really a crime. It's like, what? I don't believe you. And it's nonsense.
Live video from body cams and CCTVs can be used to provide real-time advice to officers from a command center or deploy resources to where they're most needed.
Yeah. Yeah. Old Auntie Ethel's house when she's tweeted, you know what, guys, I'm not so sure about the foreigners who are now employed as the police using the digital totalitarian system that Tony Blair has implemented, actually keeping us all under the thumb. I'm not sure about this. And Ethel will get her door kicked down by the police of diversity and inclusion. Like, actual criminals will go free, as they always do, but the people who are designed, like who the system is designed to imprison, as in the people who want to abide by the laws, the people who do work hard, the people who do pay the tax, that's who the police is going to be used against, because that's who the police are already used against. And the idea that, like, we can just make these police more effective at tyrannizing you, and trust me, crime will go down. It's like, no. I don't think you understand. Like, the problem is the state itself. The problem is the institutions themselves. The problem is the system itself. I don't want to strengthen it. I need it destroyed.
AI will go even further.
Oh, brilliant. I love the idea. Yeah, we'll make this even more comprehensive, because at some point the human operator is fallible and falls asleep. But with AI, this will be full spectrum, full scale, all the time, everywhere. Don't you just want that? It's like, no, I don't want that, actually. That's bloody terrifying, frankly.
Spotting crime patterns, guiding patrols,
Monitoring your tweets.
and streamlining decisions. This is where
I don't want the AI making decisions for me. I don't want the AI making decisions for the fucking government either. Like, AI is not flawless. It makes mistakes. And that, like, I just don't want to end up in this digital technocrat future. It's an awful idea, and it's going to make everything terrible.
technology, like digital ID, becomes critical. My institute's own analysis shows that introducing this in the UK would save at least $2 billion a year.
Bollocks! Notice how he's pivoting. By the way, we need this for crime prevention. Yeah, and it's going to save money. Oh, is it going to save money? Really? Is it going to give me a back massage and give me a foot rub and then make sure my house is tidy and my kids are put to bed? Just stop making these fucking ridiculous promises. Like, you seem desperate. You seem needy. You seem like Gollum after the ring. Just gives it precious.
And likely more by reducing losses to fraud, improving tax collection, and better targeting of state support.
See, I don't want improving tax collection, actually. The tax collection is bad enough as it is. And, okay, who knows? Maybe you'll go after fraud. Maybe you'll just go after people who are just normal people who you want to catch out or whatever it is. Don't care. Don't want it. Or we could just not spend the money doing any of this and deport all of the foreigners who are committing the crimes, right? When a foreigner commits crime, that's it. Just instantly out. Assets appropriated. You're gone. And I think that'll save us even more money, in fact, if we just stop paying money to foreigners. $2 billion a year is a tiny amount. We pay $1 billion a month in benefits to foreigners, Tony. Like, sorry, that's just not enough. You should have been promising more.
We can ensure that digital ID enhances rather than threatens personal privacy.
How could that be the case? How can it be the case? Just give the government and AI access to all the information about you all the time, and it still retains the power to oppress and persecute you, of course, and somehow that will improve your privacy. Fuck off, you demon. You actual literal demon in a human skin suit. Like, obviously that's not the case. Obviously you are just nuts, and obviously you're just being paid by the managerial technocrats who want total control over the entire world through the systems that they think that they can build. No, I don't want this, and I don't see why anyone would want this, and it is just a nightmare. An absolute nightmare that you are promising us here. And it's crazy how you've somehow not got enough self-awareness to understand that you're promising people hell and you don't know why they aren't signing up for it. But it's obvious that they're not signing up for it, which is why you've made this video. Right? You're like, okay, I'm going to have to try and persuade people, but dust off the old powers of rhetoric and we'll see if we can get some people on board. I don't think it's working, Tony.
The key is building trust and designing, with thought and intention, systems that are secure, fair, inclusive, and effective at combating crime and making us all safer.
What? Well, that ship sailed, frankly. I don't think you're going to do that. I think you're going to create a completely hellish dystopia filled with the worst kind of people on earth. I mean, like there are so many insufferable moral busybodies occupying positions in middle management and persecuting just the average person in this country at this point. I just can't stand it. And I cannot believe for a second that giving these people more power will create a better world. I just don't believe it. And therefore, I'm completely against this in every way. Personally, I think Tony Blair should be taken to Traitor's Gate. I think he should be in prison. He shouldn't be free, obviously, to bring about the tyrannical digital ID future. No, just no under every circumstance. Thank you very much, Tony.